Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the case of Matthew Taylor Coleman? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, consider supporting me on Patreon, and check out my podcast on YouTube, Bella Grande Media. I will put the relevant links for those items in the description for this video. First, I'll look at the background of this case and the timeline of the alleged incident in the same section. Then I'll move to my analysis. In 2021, Matthew Coleman was 40 years old and worked as a surf instructor at a surfing school in Santa Barbara, California. He opened the school in 2011. He lived in that same city with his wife, Abby, his 2-year-old son, Khalil, and his 10-month-old daughter, Roxy. On August 7, 2021, he left his home in his Mercedes Sprinter van. His 2 children were with him. That same day, Matthew's wife called the police. Abby said that she, Matthew, and the 2 children were getting ready to go on a camping trip, but Matthew drove away in his van with the 2 children. So he left without her, and she didn't know where he was going. Matthew did not respond to text messages Abby sent him. His wife was concerned because he did not have a car seat, but she did not think that the children were in any danger. She said that Matthew would eventually come back to the residence. An officer tried calling Abby, but she didn't answer. When an officer finally did get a hold of her, she said that she did not require further assistance. The next day, Abby called the police again. An officer went out to her house. She told the officer the same story that she had reported before, except this time she did want assistance. Even though she wanted help, she reported there were no problems in her relationship with her husband. It's not like they had been in an argument before he left or anything like that. Matthew Coleman had his iPhone with him. Abby agreed to use the Find My iPhone application to help the police locate Matthew. The last known location of the phone was in Rosarito, Baja California, Mexico. Baja California is the northernmost and westernmost state in Mexico. The name is a little confusing because it uses the word California, and it's adjacent to the U.S. state of California, but it is in Mexico. On August 9 at 8 a.m., a farm worker on a ranch near Rosarito called the authorities after finding the bodies of 2 children in a barn. The authorities reported that the bodies matched the descriptions of Matthew's children. That same day at 1 p.m., United States federal agents intercepted Matthew Coleman when he re-entered the United States. They took custody of his Mercedes Sprinter van. His children were not in the van, and there was blood on the van's registration paperwork. Matthew Coleman waived his Miranda rights and talked to investigators. He admitted that he killed his children using a spearfishing gun. He injured his hand in the process. He placed their bodies in some brush. He drove a couple of miles away to a creek where he hid the spear gun. Later, he would throw bloody clothes in a blue trash bin on the side of the road in Tijuana, Mexico. Matthew said that he thought his children were going to grow into monsters. Therefore, he had no choice but to kill them in order to save the world. Matthew further claimed that the Illuminati and QAnon ideologies had enlightened him. He received visions which made him realize that his wife possessed serpent DNA, which she passed on to his 2 children. The investigators asked him whether he knew what he did was wrong. He responded that he knew his actions were wrong, but he did not have any options. His actions were necessary to save the world. The next day, Mexican authorities recovered a spear gun, bloody clothes, a baby blanket, and a blood-stained wooden stake. The stake was found at the crime scene. They reported that Matthew's son was stabbed 12 times and his daughter was stabbed 17 times. Video surveillance camera footage retrieved by the Mexican authorities showed Coleman checking into a hotel in Rosarito on August 7. His children were with him. The 3 are seen leaving early on August 9. Matthew returned alone to the hotel later that morning to check out. Now moving to my analysis. Matthew Coleman was a champion surfer who enjoyed spearfishing and sailing. He had been a high school teacher at one time. Various people who interacted with him, like his neighbors and people who took surfing lessons from him, said he seemed like a good family man. There were no warning signs that he was capable of committing homicide. He was patient and kind. He was all there mentally. They never had any problems with him. One friend talked about how Matthew developed an interest in conspiracies. At first, Matthew would introduce the conspiracy theories as if he didn't believe them either, like he was testing out how his friend would react. But later it was clear that Matthew was devoting a lot of energy to the conspiracy theories and believed them. Matthew made some posts on social media in the years leading up to the homicides, which have attracted some attention. Here are a few examples. In September of 2017, Matthew wrote about how, at some point in their lives, people will accumulate enough evidence to demonstrate why we should stop trusting government officials, bosses, coworkers, church, family, and friends. He wrote that all people possess the DNA of God. In September of 2019, he wrote about how society will make a discovery which will open a door to a limitless flow of divine power and creativity. In June of 2020, he wrote about, quote, one who awakens people to the fact that they are eternally chosen, unquote. In October of 2020, he indicated that he had a sense his daughter was born at a very pivotal time in history. She would represent a dawn, or even an awakening, to years of great blessing for our family and nation. He wrote that his daughter had been handpicked by God to slay the giants in the land. She had been born with everything she needs to fully accomplish God's plan for her life. He made a post in November 2020 that read, quote, there is a type of great American renaissance following the years of COVID, censorship, and political divisiveness that will empower each person's heart to come alive and explode with innovative ideas, new business models, new music sounds, and never-seen ways to build amazing community. He also wrote about how the time we live in may be considered the Dark Ages someday in the future. So we see this theme emerging where he believed something big was going to happen and only special people could predict it. This occurrence would affect the entire world. Even though Matthew did make a number of unusual posts, the majority of his social media activity was relatively normal. He appeared to be documenting the story of a man who met a woman, became engaged, married, and had children. He clearly had interesting and strong views on the topic of religion, but most of his posts about religion were not out of the ordinary. What could have happened in a case like this? It's first important to remember at this point we only see allegations. There are no convictions in this case at this time. As far as why this happened, every option is still available right now. For example, Matthew could have committed this crime and pretended to invest in conspiracy theories, like perhaps he's trying to avoid responsibility. He's trying to seem like he's disconnected from reality. His alleged commission of the crime could be unrelated to conspiracy theories, like he was going to commit crimes whether he believed in them or not, or his investment in the conspiracy theories may have contributed to his behavior, with or without involvement of some level of psychosis or other mental health symptoms. Talking about the last theory for a moment, what type of mechanism could be at work in situations where people are detaching from reality? Sometimes what happens with delusional thinking is illusions use information from a person's life. Almost like a dream is assembled from life experiences, the delusion pulls on them as well. It collects them. It tries to organize them in some way, but of course they come out very disorganized. Certain themes emerge in many delusions. For example, the CIA, the FBI, space travel, aliens, big corporations, and the idea that a person has or will gain a special ability to see the world as it really is. From Matthew's social media posts and alleged confession to the police, there are a few conspiracy theories referenced: the Illuminati, QAnon, and the alien lizard humanoids. There is a substantial degree of overlap between these theories. I will offer a quick summary of each of these theories. The Illuminati conspiracy theory can be traced back to the 18th century. It says that a secret group of people are trying to influence the way people think and control the world by instituting a new world order. Members of the secret group see themselves as enlightened. They exert their influence not only through their political power, but through controlling the media. QAnon is a right-wing conspiracy theory that started in 2017, which specifically involves Donald Trump. The theory essentially says that an evil organization is trying to harm children and worship Satan. These evildoers are sometimes referred to as the deep state. Many are politicians and entertainers. Donald Trump is going to bring about a storm and a great awakening. So here again we see the word awakening. The storm involves the evildoers being arrested, and the great awakening is when everybody will realize that QAnon conspiracy theorists were right all along. So everybody will be enlightened at that same level. Society will welcome the once rejected QAnon adherents as heroes. They will be glorified, undoubtedly fulfilling a fantasy for those conspiracy theorists. After the Great Awakening, Earth will be a utopia. This conspiracy has been associated with some violence, including the Pizzagate incident. Moving to the alien lizard humanoids, this theory is often credited to David Icke, a well-known conspiracy theorist, but the foundation for this conspiracy theory existed long before him. It essentially says something very similar to the Illuminati theory, except the evil conspirators are alien lizards. They are shape-shifting, so they look like humans, which of course is quite convenient. The aliens came here about 250,000 years ago and manipulated the DNA of people on Earth. They are trying to control the world so they can send negative energy back to their civilization. It would appear as though their society became overly dependent on negative energy, like they were not looking for alternative sources of fuel. So now they're stuck trying to make people unhappy to create these negative feelings to power their appliances. This particular conspiracy theory is highly compatible with just about every other conspiracy theory. With this theory, the bad guys are simply alien lizards. So their slogan could be, "Are you bored with the conspiracy theories? Try adding alien lizards." This conspiracy theory has also been associated with violence. Anthony Quinn Warner, the man who set off a bomb in Nashville, Tennessee on Christmas Day in 2020, believed in alien lizards. With all this information in mind, what may have happened in a case like this? It would appear that Matthew had a strong interest in the idea of an awakening, distrust of the government, the Illuminati, QAnon, and, of course, alien lizard humanoids. Perhaps these ideas merged into potential delusional thinking. A sense of urgency developed based on the fear that his children would destroy the world, and he acted on that delusion. He also believed that he was awakening. He was enlightened and had some special knowledge that other people did not possess, like he was one of the few who could save the world. After a conspiracy theorist commits a crime, people remember how that person acted before the crime. For example, people often say they notice characteristics consistent with paranoia, schizoid, or schizotypal personality features. They may have thought the person was odd, bizarre, isolated, socially awkward, and a loner. That does not appear to be the case in this instance. Again, Matthew Coleman appeared a little odd at times, but not socially awkward, not a loner. Many people liked him and thought he was somewhat normal. If we compare Anthony Quinn Warner to Matthew, we see a number of differences. Anthony had a long-standing belief in alien lizards. He even tried hunting for them at a local park. He was considered bizarre. Anthony didn't kill anybody except himself. He went out of his way to avoid killing innocent people. So Matthew was better at appearing normal and more dangerous. One frightening aspect in this case of Matthew Coleman is that his behavior really did appear to come out of the blue, and it was severe. It wasn't like he went to a meeting with other conspiracy theorists and talked for a while, or bought a book written by a conspiracy theorist, like benign activity that's not going to hurt anybody. Matthew, allegedly, moved right to homicide. There are many conspiracy theorists who never commit any crimes, and even more who never commit serious crimes. Yet here we have a relatively normal individual who all of a sudden has this deep concern about his children destroying the world because of serpent DNA. How did these beliefs form so quickly? How did people miss the warning signs? What caused Matthew to act on his fears when he did? If this case involves some type of mental health component, which of course there's no way to know at this point, what disorders could have been at work? Really, this case could be related to any disorder associated with psychosis. For example, a major mood disorder with psychosis, schizophrenia, brief psychotic disorder, delusional disorder, or substance-induced psychosis. More than one disorder could have been at work at the same time. We'll have to wait for more information to see if one of these disorders or some other explanation was at work in this case. What lessons can we learn from this case? The content of most conspiracy theories involves some type of threat to humanity. When people believe in these theories, they may get defensive. They may want to try to protect the world. This creates a dangerous situation. The person may be paranoid and reluctant to seek help for mental health symptoms. In a way, the delusional thinking itself blocks the person from getting the care they need. When the person decides to take action based on their conspiratorial beliefs, the results can be deadly. I think another element that's frightening about these delusions is how they give the individual a sense of higher purpose. Now they feel emboldened to commit crimes or do whatever they want because, again, they're trying to accomplish some incredible goal like saving the world. This can really inspire somebody to hide mental health symptoms and to perpetrate crimes. So we see, again, the delusions sometimes appear to be crafted to inflict casualties. They're designed in a way that facilitates danger. Those are my thoughts on the case of Matthew Taylor Coleman. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.